Hey, before I get right to the guide, if you're somebody interested in playing this game, I'm going to highly suggest jumping into Subnautica by yourself with no guide or wiki. Discovery of each new item or mechanic makes this game much more enjoyable. That being said, if you want to know a little bit more about how to survive before jumping into the deep end on this one, here's a Snuggly guide on getting started with Subnautica Early Access. When you awake from your crash and finish putting out the fire in the opening sequence, you'll be shown your PDA system, which acts as your menu and inventory. I'm going to assume you're able to handle basic movement and inventory manipulation, but just remember, right-clicking will move an item back and forth between a container and your inventory, but while left-clicking will pull an item into your inventory, it will use the item if it is already inside your inventory. Now for a quick introduction to your crashed escape pod, just in case you haven't taken the time already to explore it yourself. While there are technically 5 points of interest here, you really only need to interact with 3 of them in order to advance past the beginning stages of the game. With your character's chair facing north, you can spot the medkit fabricator on the southern wall of the pod. This device will show blue blinking lights on the front whenever it has successfully created a new medkit for your taking. This process takes roughly 30 minutes for each one. Underneath the display screen on the west wall, you'll find a storage locker which is useful for storing items and equipment and freeing space up in your inventory during the early game. From the opening of the game, you'll find some free food, water, and flares stored here for you to use. On the north wall, you'll find the most important tool for your upcoming survival, the fabricator. This box of sciencey goodness will use the energy from your ship's self-charging battery stores to break down the scrap metal you'll find blown off the big Aurora ship and take your scavenged components to make the tools and equipment needed to survive and flourish. You'll notice 2 damaged components in the pod, the life support system and communications relay. Given its name, you'd assume that the life support systems would play a more critical role, but in reality, they really only turn the lights on inside your pod, which, while nice for decoration, isn't strictly necessary. I won't spoil surprises for the communications relay, but simply put, if you think you might catch anyone else's distress signal, then you'll want to invest in a welder to fix this.
Emergency. Seismic readings.
There are a few basic concepts to surviving in all circumstances. In the bottom left of your HUD, at all times, you'll see bars representing your current hunger, thirst, health, and oxygen levels. If any of these drop too low, I'm sure you can imagine what will happen. Again, I'm going to assume you have basic understanding of survival games. You've got to eat and drink and breathe. Going out the top or bottom of your pod will put you into the ocean. Don't forget that you can always swim straight up or straight down using the jump key with spacebar, or the sink key with the letter C. Your oxygen meter displays time in seconds of how long you can be submerged without new oxygen. Keep in mind when you start exploring later depths that over 100 meters, your oxygen will drain twice as fast without special equipment, and then 3 times as fast past 200 meters.
New creature discovered. Emergency. 10 seconds of oxygen remaining.
The player swims faster on the surface of the water than when you're completely submerged, and later tools will make undersea traversal much faster and easier. When you start the game, you'll have no navigational or directional tools other than the movement of the sun and the moon, or the position of the Aurora ship in comparison to your current position in your pod. Upgrades will show you the cardinal directions later on, but just to give you some idea of which way up is, your pod will always start west of the Aurora. The pod will display a beacon signal when you are far enough away from it, so you have no chance of getting permanently lost. Plus, you can create your own beacons and give them names to mark areas you want to remember how to get to again. This part of the guide has focused on the game mechanics and strategies that you'll need to get started in your escape pod and learn to survive by yourself. Try learning the rest on your own and go exploring the world and items a little bit. In future guides, I'll start talking specifics, so if you need help making progress or just not dying, then check out my future videos. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Subnautica Early Access, and stay snuggly.